glad you came.
Yeah.
Did you? I emailed you.
Yeah, I got it. It was really short notice, so sorry about that.
What's that?
It was really short notice. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I just saw it just a little while ago. So I will see if I can introduce you to someone who you can. So would you rather sit next? I know the perfect person who is lovely, and you can sit next to her, and she went through the process of conversion, and she would be honored to kind of like show you through the ropes to you, or
Yeah.
you get the point. So what I just need to do is ask her.
Okay, thank you so much.
Test. Okay. Yeah, so you go by row, right?
Yeah, it's fine. No, it's fine.
What would you rather be introduced as? Now, I don't. Yes, so that is, she's older. She's like young at heart. That's a good question. It's hard to.
I was just reading a bunch of Thomas Ridley columns.
Did you see the one about Israel? I think he wrote it like maybe a week ago about the one about America is going to be re-examining its relationship with Israel. True. It's sad, but true. Now, by the way, there was I don't want to call it a rebuttal to that, but rather there was another comment made that said, America always revisits its relationship with all countries that it supports, so this is not anything really new.
It is new though, it's different.
But what he's talking about is something different. I know it is. I know.
Various reasons.
The very fact that Herzog was invited to come to the White House with Netanyahu, that's a very strong thing. That's not as obvious a statement as I wrote to say that seems, it's like saying we don't want to separate or sever our relationship with Israel, and yet we don't want Netanyahu in the White House. So
Herzog isn't so.
He's
Actually, no, he's probably he's too much. Well, but anyway.
What's that? Wonderful. Wonderful. Yep, I got my clock says 6:56.
When you were here, we looked like last we stopped and looked at the time. It says, "You'll bear this one." So, okay, we're getting ready to get clear.
Mary's watching again, I know that for sure. Oh, I spoke with her today.
And it's been fun though.
I'm so glad.
Everybody had this different style.
good. Yep, Mary, I know. My parents are watching.
Which big guy? That was Jacob.
The baby.
The baby. The baby. He got a cold this week, so he didn't come tonight.
Hi, everybody. 129 is where we're starting. 129. Because that is the page for Dodie Lee. My beloved is mine, and I am my beloved's. It's a lover song. Dodie Lee, ani lo haro. Ashoshanim, Dodili, Anilo, Aharoe, Ashoshanim, Mizotola, Min Hamiba, Mizotola, Mekotere Moru Livona, Moru Livona. Ashoshanim, Dodili, Anilo, Haroe, Ashoshanim, Libavtini, Achoti Chala, Libavtini Chala. ליבבתיני אחותי חלה, ליבבתיני חלה, דודי לי, אני לא הרואה בשושנים, דודי לי, ואני לא הרואה בשושנים, אורי צפון ובואי תימן, אורי צפון ובואי תימן, דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים, דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. I'm very appreciative of you singing along with me. I'm really excited. This is my first time back in a month. I needed it. I needed to get away from all of you. No, I'm joking. I spend the summer or a month in Israel, and it's so, really gives me, if you see me dragging, you know, at the end of the, you know, in May and June, I really pick up again. I get all happy again. So I'm happy to be back. We're going to continue with the lighting of the Shabbat candles. You can find it on page 121, or 120, excuse me, in your Siddur, in your prayer book. And this is the lighting of the Shabbat candles. Now we officially usher in Shabbat because tradition says that you're prohibited from lighting, starting a fire on Shabbat. So what we just did prior was before Shabbat. Now, you know, Shabbat starts because we just lit our last match, our last fire, if you are tradition. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel And additionally, not just wine, not just the candles serving as a symbol of the beginning of Shabbat, also wine, which is our symbol of joy, and it can be found on page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher letziyat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta v'yotanu kidashta mikohamim v'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. All right. Those of you who do not spend a lot of time here in the sanctuary, You should know that we're going to be doing a fair amount of singing this evening. We always do. But tonight for sure. So just be prepared because we're going to be doing a lot of singing and it's going to be a lot of Hebrew and you can do it. So, Lecha Dodi, it's on page 138. And we're going to do the, I'll tell you which verses we're going to do. We're going to do verse 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we reach the 9th verse, I'm going to invite you to stand up and face the entrance to the sanctuary so we can greet the Sabbath bride, just like the mystics of Sfat in the Upper Galilee used to do. Let's rise for the last verse. Oi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, tochem Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Sorry to the people on Zoom, on the stream, I forgot to change the page on the, I got so into it. It happens. We're on page 146, and this is the Baruch Hu, which is our call to worship. You know, so many faiths and so many cultures have what's called a call to worship, in which, you know, I know in Christianity there's a call to worship, but most famously, Islam, you go to any Muslim country and you listen. I mean, I was in a fair number of Muslim places over the last month, and you just, at various times, you listen and you hear on a loudspeaker a person who's singing, and everyone knows it's time to pray. And this is our call to worship, our call to prayer. It's the Baruch Hu, and it's on page 146. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. All right, so a little English. We can do it. Page 149. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Feel free to join me. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim. Page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated. We're on the next page, 154. This is the traditional chant for this prayer called V'ahavta. Where did this chant, when I say traditional chant, it's using the marks, the trope marks. So this would be, you know, where this appears in the Torah, which is in the book of Deuteronomy. You can, I mean, this is how you chant it out of the Torah. So this is so you take a Torah of verses and you just apply the traditional chant to it. So join me. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta baham v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech ובשוך בך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Sing the song, Damam 159. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content. For soldiers home to leave no more, the song of the world redeemed, the song of peace. The previous page, 158. This is Micha Mocha, by the way. So when our ancestors, when they were freed from Egyptian bondage, and we were making our way through the wilderness, we found ourselves at the shores of the Sea of Reeds. Some people call it the Red Sea. I like to call it the Sea of Reeds. Doesn't matter. Well, the argument, we won't have that discussion now. But point is that the Egyptians were closing in, and Moses raised his staff and parted the waters, and we went through to safety and security and freedom. And when we got to the other side of the Sea of Reeds and knew we were safe, we sang Micha Mocha, which is 158. Micha Mocha. Tehilo, oh sefele, nora tehilo, oh sefele, malechutecha, ra'uvanecha, bokeh. So there are some people who are unfamiliar with this place. And, you know, the service, it has a lot of sources. The Torah, I just described for one of them, more than one. And Talmud has some sources. Poetry helps to make up the service. But and many of these prayers are done all the time. Like Shema, every service, weekday, Shabbat, do the Shema. V'ahavta, same thing. But some of these prayers are unique for the Sabbath, right? Some in which they said, this is what you say when, in the same way that, you know, you might hear Avinu Malkeinu, and you're like, all right, that one is unique for the high holidays. This one, some prayers are unique for Shabbat. This one is called V'shamru, unique for Shabbat. Join me, it's on page 162 at the top. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam v'ridolam V'shamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Ledorotam berit olam Beini uvein Bnei Yisrael Oti leolam Veshamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Ledorotam berit olam Ki sheshet yamim Asa Adonai et HaShamayim ve'et ha'aretz Veshamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Ledorotam berit olam Uvayom hashvi'i Shavat vayinafash Shavat vayinafash Shavat vayinafash Veshamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Ledorotam berit olam. So one of my favorite readings in this prayer book is on page 165, and it goes like this. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. We continue now with the tefillah, which is kind of the heart of the Shabbat service. It can be found beginning on page 164, and then it's going to go on to 166, 168, and 170, all in rapid succession, but I may try to sneak in a page number and tell you what page we're on from time to time. 164, this is Adonai Sefatai Tiftach, and I invite you to please rise. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Fi Yahagim Tehilatecha Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Fi Yahagim 166. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Norah, El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chastei Ahavot V'Imahot U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem L'man Shemo V'Yahava Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Makeh Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Yezrat Sarah 168 Atagibor Leolam Adonai Mechayea Kol Atarav Lehoshia Moshe Morid Hatal מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ורחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני אחר, מחלמוך בל גבורות, ומידור מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש, ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Please be seated. 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day, and may all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Page 178. This is sometimes the Shabbat service, like our Shabbat service or even weekday services too, they have versions for the morning and versions for the evening. And so we have a prayer for peace that happens in the morning, and that's called Sim Shalom. We also have a prayer for peace that happens in the evening, and that's called Shalom Rav, and it's on page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai hamevarech et amo Yisrael Hashalom. All right, so an opportunity for us to do a little sharing. And I know that there are a fair amount of people here who are not so used to being in our sanctuary, but that's okay, because there is no No worries. No pressure. No one has to do anything they don't want to do. However, if you do want to do something, then we want to hear about it. So we take this as an opportunity to share joy. If you've experienced joy recently, then all you got to do is raise your hand and tell us a little bit about your joy. Say again. Being with your grandma. Doesn't matter. We can appreciate, though, grandparents. So, by the way, since when we hear words of joy, then we also want to follow it up with kind of a hope that this is something that will continue. And so we say, can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Anybody else want to share a little joy? 50th anniversary? That's amazing. I know. I know. It's amazing. I mean, it's hard. I'm so glad. Where'd you guys get married? Yeah. Temple Israel in Silver Spring, Maryland. Mazel Tov on 50 years. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Yes. You have a joy that you want to share, something that's made you happy?
What makes me most happy is
Playing? And what? Reading. Reading and playing. Which one do you like more? All right. Let me ask you one more question. If you were to read a book, what's your favorite book? Books about the Civil War? Americans, of course. That's thank you for clarifying that. So wait, your favorite books are to read books about the American Civil War? Yeah. I don't know why not. Yeah. How old are you again? 6. Teen? D? 6. Like regular old 6. That's incredible. Books about the Civil War. The American Civil War, of course. Can you? Let's sing to this one. Can you? Can you? Can you? Can you? Civil War. I still won't read books about the Civil War. Anybody else want to share some joy? Yes, Carrie.
Nothing real particular. It's just been a great week.
Been a great week? Yeah, that's good enough to have like good weeks, kind of fill you up. Anybody else want to share joy? Go ahead. Yeah. When they haven't been doing well. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Anybody else want to share? You got anything back there? Go ahead, Murph. That's right.
So they got me graduated fully because they're here from Florida.
Because clearly, if you come from Florida and you've been around someone from Florida for a month, then you've got all the antibodies you need.
So that's a joy for me, and having her, having Ainsley work with me, and then pay her, and then force her, not really force, but use her arm to give her 50% of what she makes to save, and then the other 50% is hers. It's a joy to have her do that with me.
Yep. Afterwards, you can tell me if you really were in agreement with that idea, or if you, like, usually the whole savings thing doesn't go over so well when you're 14. Anybody else want to share joy? Baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim. We praise you, Adonai, our God, for partnering with us in the many joys that are in our lives. Amen. And now, along with the joy is a recognition that loved ones of ours are struggling, are in need of healing and health. And so we have a blessing that we also say for those who are struggling. And it's called Mishaberach. And what we'll do is I will share the beginning of this blessing first, and then I'll give you an opportunity to share any names that you'd like to of people who are in need of healing. You can say your own name, you can say someone else's name, Hebrew, English, your call. The blessing begins this way. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Ve'imotenu Sarah Rivka Leah Rachel. It all means may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel. V'yivarech v'yiraped kol hacholim shelanu. May God bless and heal all of our loved ones who are in need of healing, especially the ones whom we name at this time. If you'd like to share the name of a loved one in need of healing, just raise your hand and go ahead, Laurie, you can start. Laurie. Thank you. Any other people would like to share the name of someone? Go ahead.
Frida Claudia.
Thank you.
Marie Sudbrook.
Thank you. Yeah, Meira Bat Avram Basara for sure. Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. I'd also like to add to this list the names Eric Harris, Mika Rom, Melech Eliezer Ben Yosef, Beth Smith, Leslie Harris, Zachary Meyer, and Bob Berkowitz. Bishlach lehem bimheira refuah shalema. May God send them speedily a complete recovery. Refuat hanefesh, for refuat haguf, a healing of body and a healing of spirit. Toch sha'ar cholei Yisrael, amongst all who are in need of healing. V'nomar amen. Let us say amen. If you'd like to join with me in the singing of Mishaberach, it can be found on page, I'm pretty sure, 371. Yeah, 371. Of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal So we pause now for a moment in silence. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Rehevi Vehegolibi Lefanecha Adonai Tzori So I get to share with you a few thoughts about, or I choose to share with you, a few thoughts about the good, the bad, and the good of being in Israel. The good. It's so special, so meaningful to be in our ancestral homeland, to be able to walk the streets and listen to Hebrew spoken as the native language, to go to restaurants knowing that they care about, even if I don't care about kashrut, they do. To read in the newspapers Devar Torahs, just words about the Torah portion in the newspaper. It's and not to mention to see the faces of people, whether it's youngsters or adults traveling through Israel, maybe for the first time, maybe not, and experiencing that country for themselves. It's special. And yet, the bad. Israel's going through one of its darkest points, perhaps ever in the history of the state of Israel. It's really unfortunate because you have a prime minister who will do anything to preserve his legacy and keep himself out of jail. And what he's done is he has created a coalition around him, which is made up, comprised of ultra-Orthodox political parties and fascist parties. And that's a strong word, but I believe it. And those are the people who he surrounds himself with all the time. Netanyahu is the grown-up in the room. And it's strange, because having fascists who want truly the suffering of Arabs as a part of their policy and part of their position to occupy such an important part of our government, it's nasty. And not only do they just occupy important parts, one of the fascist ministers, he's in charge of the police. It's terrible. And then, on top of it all, there is a push right now to change the rules of the government of Israel and limit the power that the Supreme Court has in overturning any unreasonable decision that the Knesset makes. And why? Well, it's because this is one of the carrots that Netanyahu offered to these fascist parties, was you no longer have a liberal Supreme Court serving as the checks and balances to anything that we want to do. That's really unfortunate. And on top of it, as a way of keeping the ultra-Orthodox community happy, of which there are various different political parties, but he's managed to get all of them together, which is unheard of. He has made numerous deals and offered many various different just attractive offers to the ultra-Orthodox so that they have a disproportionate amount of power in the state of Israel right now. And it's ugly. And finally, he is trying to, knowing that he has the votes because he has this coalition, he is trying to very quickly, without a sense of consensus or agreement, railroad these new changes and provisions into the government such that Israel, which has been a democracy, and I think continues to be a democracy, will certainly sacrifice one of the very important elements of a democracy, which is a sense of checks and balances. And this is bad, really bad. And so the good. The good after the bad is that every single Saturday, and in truth, probably 2 or 3 other days during the week also, there are mass demonstrations on the streets of Tel Aviv. Mass demonstrations that is staggering in its numbers and would be the equivalent of 6 or 7 million Americans demonstrating weekly on the streets of Washington, D.C. Weekly, maybe 2 to 3 times a week. Right? Israel is a country of 7 million people. When 180,000 demonstrate, that's and weekly, it's been 29 weeks. That is incredible. And they are relentless. Relentless, the demonstrations. And it's beautiful. Because if you worry that Israel is losing every element of its being that you love, you should know it's still there. It's just being hijacked right now. That you should know that the heart of Israel, which is Tel Aviv, Jerusalem may be the spiritual heart of Israel, but Tel Aviv is the heart of Israel. It's not going to end well. Because something's going to give. You're either going to have a mass exodus of people who leave Israel, which would make me absolutely heartbroken. Or you might have people taking their businesses out of Israel. The high-tech companies just leaving because for their own good, they're thinking maybe they won't get the business that they once thought they could get because of this. Or worst of all, might see a civil war. And it pains me. It hasn't gotten to the point in which, and hopefully I'm not saying it, I don't mean to broach into the world of politics in America. It hasn't gotten to that place of just nasty angriness between kind of the far right and the far left here. It's not like that there, but it could get that way. And it also has such a undercurrent of resentment between the secular and the ultra-Orthodox, and certainly there is a great deal of resentment towards these other fascist parties that have kind of disproportionate representation. Because Likud, which is Netanyahu's party, when it was elected fairly, the people who voted for Netanyahu didn't quite appreciate that this was going to be how he would establish his coalition. No one thought when voting for him that would there be the ultra-Orthodox leaning towards having kind of almost religious law. It's not going to get there, but working its way towards that. No one saw that. No one saw these religious nationalist fascist parties being the ones who joined the coalition with Likud. No one saw that coming. And so when they voted for it, they didn't see this being the end product. It's the way that Israel's politics work. So nothing was illegal about it, nothing was manipulated about it, but it's just sad. But the good is to see the demonstrations, to stand arm in arm with people who screaming demokratia, screaming and singing democracy, democracy, democracy over and over again, songs that they have written and created for the sake of this very, very moment. It's very beautiful and very special. And so, for sure, keep following it. Care about it. If you were wondering, which side are you on? Look, I can't tell you which side you're on, but I can't believe I forgot to say the most important part. That the demonstrations that were also about what's called judicial reform, and that is having to do with the Supreme Court, in which they wanted to override the capacity for the Supreme Court to address anything in the Knesset, but also that a way of coming up with new rules for how a Supreme Court justice is appointed. And it needs to happen, but not like this. Not in a way in which there's no consensus, but only just by one party kind of railroading something in it. So it's unfortunate, but I tell you this, if you wondered as you read the news and you see what's going on, which side you're on, again, I'm not going to tell you which side you're on, but if you want to know which side I'm on, it's the side of the demonstrators. I know you might say, oh, but because of their demonstrations, they shut down the airport for a few hours. Okay, fine. Yeah, but because of their demonstrations, they've shut down all the main highways in Tel Aviv. Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's never violent, ever. There are times in which the police got a little violent, but not so bad. Part of the problem was that the police chief of Tel Aviv resigned because of the pressure he was getting from one of the fascist parties. And he resigned because the fascist parties were saying, we want you to use excessive force to stop these demonstrations. And the police chief said, I'm not going to do that, and he resigned. So the police, the army, really uncomfortable. But you know what? Hopefully that the resolution to this comes in which maybe there's a new election soon, and that will resolve this quick. Or if these changes are made, maybe they can be undone. You know, there's a story, I'm just going to end with a quick story about, in the Talmud, in the book of Gittin, in which it talks about these two people. One's name, let me start this way. A man is having a party and he wants to invite his friend Kamtza, Kamtza, to his party, right? And so he tells a person to go and find Kamtza and invite him to his party. But that person didn't invite Kamtza, accidentally invited a guy by the name of Bar Kamtza. And this guy, Bar Kamtza, was not liked by the host of the party. And so when Bar Kamtza arrives, the host says, "What are you doing here?" And Bar Kamtza says, "I was invited." And he says, "I didn't invite you." And Bar Kamtza says, "Well, I'm here. Let me stay." And he goes, "No, get out." And he says, "I'll pay for my meal." He says, "Nope, get out." And he says, "I'll pay for the whole party." And the host says, "Nope, get out." And so what does Bar Kamtza do? He goes running to the Roman leader, and he says, "They're having a party over there, and they're speaking badly about Rome." The Roman officials came, and they murdered all the people in the party. And the rabbis say that it's because of the story of Bar Kamtza and the host that the temple was destroyed. They said, why? Because there was so much hatred and so much bickering that was going on in Israel at the time that they couldn't figure it out amongst themselves. And because they couldn't figure out their own issues amongst themselves, that the whole nation crumbled around it. It's happening again. And my only hope is that we can kind of come up from the ashes just like we did in 2,000 years ago and emerge stronger and better. But right now, it's kind of bad. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't go visit. Because it may be bad, but it's still the same. But when you're there, it's still the same beautiful place that you hope it to be. So at this time, let's return back to our prayer books. 586. And when you get to 586, I'd like to ask you to rise for Aleinu. 586. Thank you very much. Bottom of the page, 586. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו בורים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. 591 ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד Ushemo Echad. Please be seated. So this is also a time in our service where we bring to mind loved ones who have been called to their eternal rest. We remember lovingly two people who have passed away somewhat recently. Trudy Hoffman, the mother of Laurie Berman, and Susie Bunn, niece of Marianne Fry. We also remember those whose yahrzeits occur on the Shabbat. It means it's the anniversary of their passing. We remember, again, lovingly, Hyman Beck, Thomas Heslin, Gertrude Rabinowitz, Reba Salisbury Berman, Margaret Bernie Mack, Abigail Holt Koppelman, Thea Kahn Lindauer, Lawrence Jason, Robert David Zipser, Rose Getz, Sharon Opert, Selma Abeles, Lucille Mangan, Francis Emmett Cook, Janice Lynn Zwick, Hilda Hahn Cohen, and Irene Kushner. And so in gratitude for their lives and linking their names with the rest of our loved ones who have been called to their eternal rest, we remember them now with the words of our prayer called the Kaddish. It can be found on page 598. And if it's your custom, I invite you to please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechal beit Yisrael ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yidromam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, damiram bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to every bereaved heart. Amen. Please be seated. Thank you. So, our service is almost over. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and welcome to those who, or it's their first time, or it's first time in a long time, or always welcome back. Let me share with you a handful of announcements. Not many, just a few, and then Motzi and our final song. So. First of all, with respect to the summer service times, watch for our weekly emails because they include the summer service schedule, the times. We don't have weekly programs, but a link to the week's yahrzeit list is always available in our service reminders. And typically during the summer, we also don't do Oneg Shabbat. But next week, we're doing a Shabbat on the lawn in which we're going to have, it's going to be kind of oriented a little bit younger. So just telling you, be prepared. It's meant for, it's on the younger side. But anyone can come. But there's going to be ice cream. When I mentioned that in my house today, this evening, it got a big eyebrow raise. Gee, someone said ice cream. So, my kids may come just because of the ice cream. But that's next week at 6:30 p.m. Doing a little earlier because we're kind of gearing towards younger. But again, and we'll be outside unless the weather's bad. Wine tasting at the Gannells, that is on the 29th. See the weekly email for more information. Parents' Night Out, if you want to do something on, so you have to see the weekly email, but I think it's Saturday, no, Fridays and Saturday, no, I'm sorry, I can't believe I don't remember which days. You have to just look at the weekly email, but I think twice a week. There's going to be babysitting here, you can drop your kids off for between 5 and 10, and go out and do whatever you want, and come back, and have a night away from the kids, if that's your thing. So keep your eye out in the weekly email. Finally, Shabarbecue. That's Shabbat barbecue. Shabarbecue. August 18th with Shabbat Zimra, which is like our musical Shabbat, plus a lot of extra kind of coffee house or rock stuff that's not Jewish afterwards, and barbecue and on the lawn, assuming that the weather's nice or decent. So definitely come casual for that. And that's on August 18th. Okay, I think I've said enough. Thank you so much to Tom Weider, who served as an usher first time. I'm so appreciative. And we're going to do Motzi, and then our final song, which is Shir Hamalot. So please join me for the Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Okay, Shir Hamalot. It can be found on page 635. That's a little better. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. The call, sorry. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. One more time. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. And to those who watched on the stream, Shabbat Shalom to you too. Shabbat Shalom.